Hello, everyone. I just wanted to share with you today about, I know I mentioned in my other video that I have PCOS, so I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my journey and what it's been like. And yes, so I'll go ahead and start. So PCOS, I have notes, so if I'm looking off to the side, that's why. Yeah. So PCOS stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's a metabolic disorder that disrupts your hormones. So basically, it gives you higher than normal levels of certain hormones, like testosterone or progesterone. Usually, it's testosterone and insulin. So one of the main symptoms is irregular periods, and you can also get cystic acne, weight gain, excess hair, like growing hair along, like I get it under my chin and along my jaw. Um, yeah, it's not pleasant. You can also go bald. Like some women lose their hair from the excess testosterone. So my journey with PCOS has been a long one. I started having hormone problems at the age of 8. Um, Basically, it started with cystic acne, so I just had it all over my face, and you know, kids are really mean about that, so that wasn't fun. And I couldn't. I even my family tried to help me, but I would try and use what was it I used? Oh, I can't think of the name of it, but I would use those really strong cleansers for my acne, and nothing was helping, and I couldn't figure out why. So when I started my period a year later, my periods were never regular, and I thought that was normal at the time. And I think my mom did too, because we just assumed that it was because I had just started out, and that it would normalize over time, but it actually didn't. It would get worse. So I got heavier periods, or I wouldn't have a period. My cramps got progressively worse. And finally, when I was 16, I had a period for 3 weeks straight, and it had no indication that it was letting up at all. So finally, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I don't care that I've never been to the gynecologist and that I'm not sexually active. I want to go and figure out what's going on. So I went to the gynecologist. I got all the routine exam, and the gynecologist diagnosed me with PCOS at that point. She said, here's the birth control pill. Take it until the day that you want children. Don't ever go a day without taking it. So I did start taking it. And it did help. It cleared my skin up. It made my periods regular. It got rid of my cramps. Everything was all good. But then I got into college, and I couldn't afford it anymore. So I stopped taking it, and I would have no period for semesters on end, which at the time seemed okay. But at the same time, I knew that means something's wrong. And I knew that, obviously periods are meant to tell us that we're able to have children. So I knew that that might be a problem down the road when I got married. So anyway, fast forward a bit. I got married, found a cheaper pill, and took it for 2 years. And hang on, is that right? Yeah, for 2 years until 2 years ago. And then I read a book that indicated that the pill could be an abortifacient. Now, no matter what you think about this, I wasn't comfortable with that. So I did a lot of research and made the personal decision, to stop taking the pill for that reason, and for the fact that I wanted to get my hormones under control naturally. So I knew that we would want to have kids in a few years, and I knew that the sooner I got my hormones under control, the better. Because it would be much easier when we start trying to conceive if I'm not just starting to try and figure out what's going on with my hormones. So that's when I started. About 2 years ago, I stopped taking the pill and started this journey of natural balance, I guess. Okay, so for a while I went to a naturopath, which is like a herbalist. See, it's Australia, so no matter where you're from, you'll understand what I'm saying. Anyway, so I went to a naturopath and took all kinds of herbal concoctions and pills. Bitter, nasty, ugh. Anyway, and it wasn't really helping. they kept telling me that it was, but I wasn't feeling any results. I wasn't seeing any results. I then thought that charting might be a good idea. You see people talk about BBT charting, basal body thermometer charting, and that just means that you take your temperature in the morning and chart what your temperatures are throughout your cycle. And what it shows is when you ovulate, and once you do it for a while, you figure out your body a bit more. You get to know your body really well. So you get to know when you're how long you should expect before you ovulate, and then how long your luteal phase is, which means how long after your ovulation should you wait to expect your period. So that has been a very positive thing for me to do, because it has shown me when to expect my periods and when I'm out of balance and when I'm in balance and what's normal for me. So I would highly recommend doing that if you are trying to balance your hormones naturally. Yes. So if you want more info on this method, I'll just show you. This is a very old version of this book. Just make sure that but you could see Taking Charge of Your Fertility, and it's by Toni Weschler. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, when I saw this book, I thought it was for if you wanted to get pregnant, but actually she talks a lot about just being aware of your body, being aware of when you're ovulating. And she not only goes through pregnancy achievement, but also avoiding pregnancy. So you can, contrary to popular belief, if you are charting and if you go by her method, you can have natural sex without getting pregnant if you follow her methods. So anyway, very good book. I would highly recommend it. And this is a really old version, so you might have to find the newer version on Amazon or something, but very good book. Okay, I'm almost done. So eventually, when everything else wasn't working, the naturopath recommended that I try to cut back on gluten. Now, I know it's becoming a big awareness over in America now, but when I moved here 2 years ago, it was not, I didn't know what gluten was until we moved here. So gluten is wheat, barley, I'm trying to think what else. Basically wheat products and barley products is what I avoid. So rather than just cutting back on gluten, I decided, okay, well, I might as well just cut it out, because at this point it won't hurt. So I did. I went gluten-free, and that has made all the difference. I never would have thought that changing my diet habits would have made a difference in my hormones, but it actually has made all the difference. So my BBTs immediately normalized, and within a month, I finally got my first natural period since being off the pill with 9 months before. 9 months before that point, I'd stopped taking the pill and finally got a period. So since then, I've also cut out soy because I connected soy with my really terrible cramps. That's another symptom that I've had. It wasn't bad until I went off the pill. It was bad, but when I went off the pill, it was progressively worse cramps. Cold sweat, couldn't even, it was just so bad, and I would end up throwing up every month at the end of my hour long of writhing in pain with cramps. So anyway, I cut out soy, and my cramps have gone away since then. I get them a little bit, but not even bad enough to take any medicine for it now, which is wonderful. So I'll continue eating this way the rest of my life, and definitely through my pregnancy. People that have celiac disease or people that need to eat gluten-free tend to need to do that very strictly when they're pregnant. So that is a definite plan that I have. If you want more information about PCOS, there's a couple of books that I do recommend. So this one is really good if you want, I'm really bad at this whole camera thing. This is a really good book if you want a very logical explanation of PCOS and very doctor type. So it's called A Patient's Guide to PCOS, Understanding and Reversing Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, and it is by Futterweit. I don't know how to say these names, but anyway, very good book. And he talks a lot about how actually the pill is a last resort, which nobody told me. The first resort that they recommend for PCOS is getting your weight under control and exercising. And I was furious when I found that out because nobody had even mentioned that to me, and I would have been happy to try and do that. So anyway, great book. Another one that I love because I'm not so logical minded, this one has been really good for me, is the Ultimate PCOS Handbook. Sorry about I'm not used to the camera yet. So the Ultimate PCOS Handbook, Lose Weight, Boost Fertility, Clear Skin, and Restore Self-Esteem. And that's by Colette Harris and Theresa Cheung. So great book, has a lot of good recipes, information, good eating habits. She talks about exercise programs, pretty much anything you'd want. And I did read this straight through, but it's also a very good resource book. Like if you just want a book where you can look things up, well, what should I do if my moods are low? Well, you can go straight to that chapter and look at it. Highly recommend this book. So anyway, thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any PCOS or hormone disorder. We can be soul sisters, as they call it, which is really cheesy, but anyway, just ignore it. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.